Weekdays with Bernie segment tonight. As you know, some hackers got into the Democratic National Committee's email system and released embarrassing stuff about Bernie Sanders and journalists the DNC was trying to co-opt. Joining us now from North Carolina, purveyor, BernardGoldberg.com. Mr. Goldberg, I know you're old school, just like I am. We're old school journalists. I have never had, in 40 years of doing this kind of stuff, all right, ever had any political person call me and tell me, hey, you do this, or I want you to tell this one to do that. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz was calling people like Chuck Todd from NBC. Who's the guy on CNN, the guy in the afternoon? Calling him and telling him, oh, you got to tell this one not to do that, and you got to knock this off. It was outrageous. Did you ever see anybody ever do that to you?
No, I got a call from a very big politician once to complain about something, but he didn't tell me how I should have done it. Look, Debbie Wasserman Schultz isn't going to win Miss Congeniality Awards anytime soon. She was throwing her weight around, which you can do until you're embarrassed by an email scandal. So she figured she might be able to get away with it. The bigger overarching issue about that part of the email scandal is that the DNC was playing favorites with liberal news organizations and hostile to conservative news organizations. I'm not shocked by that.
No, everybody knows that.
Sure. That just makes that makes sense. So I don't find that to be scandalous. The fact that she was telling people to knock it off and you can't do this and you shouldn't do that. Hey, any journalist worth the title journalist is going to say go fly a kite.
And
you're not going to take that seriously.
And report it.
And report it.
Yeah.
Unless
say,
it's
hey, I got a call today from Debbie, and here's what Debbie told me.
Unless the conversation begins, hey, Bill, this is an off-the-record conversation. You need to do this.
But then you know what you do as soon as you do. I've had that kind of stuff before, and then I go, well, wait a minute, we're going back on the record now. That's
right,
what you do.
exactly.
You control the off-the-record. You say, yes, we're off the record as a journalist, and then you say, we're going back on the record because you're telling me stuff that you shouldn't be telling me.
Right. There's another part of the email scandals that I find interesting. Do we have time for a quick...
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the initial DNC email hack story was about how the DNC tried to sandbag Bernie Sanders. That was a good story. That was an important story. But that went down the memory hole when Donald Trump just yesterday said, Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
Yeah.
Trump was called a traitor by some people on the left, and the official statement from the Clinton campaign said this is no longer about politics. This is now about national security. I'm confused. If Hillary Clinton was telling the truth and those 30,000 emails were personal emails about yoga and her daughter's wedding, how is Donald Trump jeopardizing national security? But if she were lying, I know that's not a possibility. But if she were lying, and some of those emails were not personal but about national security matters, then she's the one who was jeopardizing national security. And I wish we heard more of that during the commentary.
Well, if Trump's watching tonight, then that's a thread he can take out. But I'll tell you, I thought the story was just ridiculous. I didn't cover it. If Trump wants to ask Putin to hand over Hillary's emails, fine. I don't care. I'd like to see what the emails are. I don't care whether they come from Putin. I don't care if they come from Michael Jordan. I don't care where they come from. Kobe Bryant can give them to me anytime he wants. All right? And, oh, Trump is telling the Russians to do espionage. I mean, it's like a cartoon. Anyway, okay.
I got to be honest with you. You know, I'm not Donald's one thing personally, but as a candidate, I'm not a big fan. But when I heard him say that, I said, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'll take them from Putin. Hand over the emails. Now, I hear you were on Imus this morning. I didn't know Imus was still alive, by the way. I'm glad he's...
Oh, that is wrong.
Anyway, and you were sticking up for me.
Well, I was speaking up for you not because we're friends, which obviously we're not. I was speaking up for you because I think you were right about this. Look, here's the thing. The brouhaha over the slavery thing, this is a brouhaha without the ha-ha, right, about the slavery thing, has to do with you, one sentence basically, with you saying that they had good housing, decent housing, and that they were well fed.
Right.
Your critics say they were, and let me finish before you denounce your critics. Your critics say they were slaves. They had no say in whether the housing was decent or indecent, or whether they were well-fed or badly fed. Okay, so we could argue whether living in a barn where they lived was decent housing, and whatever kind of food they got was decent food, or they were well-fed. I don't think that's the issue. I don't think this is about slavery. I don't think this is about slaves. I don't think this is about housing or food. I think this is about you. There are people out there who are lying in wait and listening to every syllable you utter. And if you say anything that they think they can jump on, they will.
Sure.
Some of the critics, a few of the critics, were making a point that you would disagree with about a historical accuracy. I have no problem with that. But most of them, I believe, were trying to attack you personally.
Sure.
Because they don't agree with you. And if Rachel Maddow had said the exact same thing that you said, they would ignore it.
Well, and it's as far as historical accuracy is concerned, just go to the White House Association, and they back me up 100%. We don't say stuff here that we haven't checked out. Well, I appreciate you sticking up with that with me, Imus. I appreciate that, Bernie.